9, 8.
Coming up, protesters erupt in China over the zero COVID policy. Students return to the University of Idaho today as police have yet to name a suspect in the murder of 4 students. The suspect in the May mass shooting at Buffalo grocery store has pled guilty. Plus, a look at your Plattsburgh weather, entertainment, and sports tonight on PS News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Pat Pfeiffer.
And I'm Jorge Cabrera. Our top story tonight, protests erupted over the weekend across China, an unprecedented show at a defiance against the country's zero COVID policy. From the Beijing and Shanghai in the east and Hotan in the west, these scenes are playing out across the country, spreading to Hong Kong and Chinese expat communities abroad. For the first time in decades, thousands of protesters are speaking out angry after nearly 3 years of rigid COVID lockdowns and constant COVID testing. This as China reports a 6th day of record COVID infections despite its zero COVID policy. It is the first time that protests have taken aim at central government. No protests of this scale demanding political reforms have been seen in China since the Tiananmen pro-democracy protests in 1989, which led to the massacre of unarmed protesters. Some people are openly calling for China's president and the Communist Party to step down. Police have been out in force, and Shanghai police dragged people away and loaded them into vans on Sunday night. A BBC journalist was among those arrested, then released. There are reports of other journalists being targeted, including a correspondent for Swiss broadcaster RTS, who said live on air that he was about to be arrested. The European Broadcasting Union responded today, calling the aggression towards journalists, quote, intolerable, unacceptable, and the mark of a new low.
Students at the University of Idaho returned to campus Monday from Thanksgiving break, but with a lot of caution and concern. It's been 2 weeks since someone stabbed 4 students to death in an off-campus house in the northern town of Moscow. Authorities have yet to identify any suspects or make an arrest. The 4 students, Ethan Chapman, 20, Kaylee Concalves, 21, Xana Coronado, 20, and Madison Mogan, 21, were found dead on November 13th. Police say they believe this was a targeted attack, but have not provided evidence to support that claim. Investigators have sifted through more than 1,000 tips and conducted at least 150 interviews. The university's president said last week that some students do not want to return to campus until a suspect is caught, and directed faculty to prepare remote learning options for the last 2 weeks of the semester. Idaho Governor Brad Little has authorized up to $1 million in state emergency funds that can be used for the ongoing investigation. The killings have shaken this close-knit community. It has not seen a murder since 2015, and the university plans to hold a vigil on Wednesday to honor the victims.
The accused Buffalo mass shooter pleaded guilty today to state charges, including murder, domestic terrorism, and attempted murder as a hate crime. The 19-year-old man is accused of killing 10 people and injuring more than a dozen and at a grocery store in a predominantly black neighborhood in May. 11 of the 13 people shot were black, and investigators believe the shooter targeted them based on their race.
Every count of the indictment, with the full knowledge that he will spend the rest of his life in prison with no chance of parole. Though the federal case continues, his actions today ensure that there will be no state court trial, and he will not appeal. This critical step represents a condemnation of the racist ideology that fueled his horrific actions on May 14th.
He has pleaded not guilty to multiple federal hate crime charges. If convicted on those charges, he could face a death penalty.
The January 6th committee is preparing its final report before the panel expires in 2 months. A report that's expected to focus on issues beyond former President Donald Trump's actions leading up to the insurrection. Representative Adam Schiff says the committee is hoping to be as broad and inclusive as possible, looking at what's beyond the scope of their investigation. Schiff's comments come in the wake of a Washington Post report that some members of the committee have been frustrated with Vice Chair Liz Cheney's focus on Trump's role at the expense of other key findings not related to former president. However, Schiff says he never viewed it that way and found her role on the panel indispensable. He says she and Adam Kinzinger showed a lot of courage, something he says is, quote, in short supply in the GOP these days. As for Cheney, she has said their final report will include information about security failures on January 6th, as well as information about members of Congress who failed to comply with the committee's subpoenas. The report is slated for release before the end of the year.
Early voting is underway in Georgia's U.S. Senate runoff election. Incumbent Democrat Raphael Warnock is looking to fend off Republican challenger Herschel Walker for a full 6-year term in the Senate. Last week, Warnock and Democrats were given a victory by Georgia's Supreme Court, which ruled counties could offer early voting on Saturday. The decision ended a legal debate that challenged Georgia's 2021 voting law, which restricted weekend voting just after a holiday. That law also cut the timeline for a runoff election down to 4 weeks, while limiting the early voting window to a minimum of 5 days, instead of the previous 16. Early voting is required in all Georgia counties Monday through Friday of this week, ahead of the December 6th runoff election day. More than 20 counties offered early voting on Saturday. Democrats already have 50 seats in the Senate, and with the control of the chamber by virtue of tie-breaking votes from Vice President Kamala Harris. The party hopes to add this seat for a basic majority and to hold edge on committees. Coming up after the break, a pilot and passenger are rescued from a small plane crash in Maryland. And new seat shows that 90% of COVID deaths are coming people 65 and older. Stay with us.
Downer is a great option for students just because, one, you get your late night option. It's open, all day during the day. It appeals to so many different students. It appeals to the vegetarians, the vegans, any student that's avoiding gluten. With the Sundowner being right in the ACC, it's a great place for students to come meet their friends between classes, whether they want to get a quick snack, a drink, and just hang out with each other and have a good time. Good atmosphere, good music, good people.
Welcome back, everyone. 2 people are recovering after a small plane crash into a high-voltage transmission tower in Maryland Sunday night. Officials in Gaithersburg say the aircraft was dangling around 100 feet from the ground, which made it tough for crews to rescue the man and woman trapped inside. During the early hours on Monday, the 65-year-old pilot and his 66-year-old passenger were pulled from the wreckage and taken to a local hospital for treatment. Their injuries were reported to be serious, but not life-threatening. The plane had departed from Westchester County Airport in New York, and the crash occurred about 4 miles from Montgomery County Airpark, according to the FAA and Maryland State Police. The incident cut power from more than 120,000 residents in the area for a few hours, according to local utility company Pepco. The FAA and the NTSB will investigate the cause of the crash.
People ages 65 and older make up 16% of the U.S. population. But according to a Washington Post analysis of CDC data, people in that age group currently make up nearly 9 out of 10 COVID deaths. The pandemic has consistently hit older Americans the worst. During the first few months of the pandemic, the age group made up 8 out of 10 deaths. In the summer of 2021, it went as low as 6 out of 10. Last week, the White House announced it was launching a campaign to get more seniors and other groups disproportionate and affected by the pandemic boosted. For more information on flu and COVID vaccines and to find a provider near you, visit vaccines.gov.
The world's largest active volcano is erupting. The eruption at Mauna Loa in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park began Sunday. The Hawaiian Volcano Observatory said lava flows are contained in the summit area. The lava is not a threat to downslope communities. The eruption did lead to an ashfall advisory for early Monday. Up to a quarter inch of ashfall could accumulate on parts of the Big Island. The National Weather Service in Honolulu says people with respiratory illnesses should stay indoors, and anyone outside should cover their mouth and nose with a mask or a cloth. Mauna Loa, which covers half the island, has erupted 33 times since 1843. Its last eruption was in 1984, making this prolonged quiet period the volcano's largest in recorded history. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at your Plattsburgh weather and entertainment news. Stay with us.
To me, the gym means discipline.
The gym for me is part of who I am.
The gym is time to myself.
The gym to me is a place where I can come and clear my mind.
Find out what the gym means to you. The SUNY Plattsburgh Gym at Memorial Hall has the perfect facilities for your fitness needs. From lifting rooms to basketball courts, if you're looking to have a good time or trying to get a workout in, Visit Memorial Gym.
Club International has been of great help to me as an international student because it has allowed me to be introduced to new people from different cultures. Representation matters and we know how to show it right because at every festival, we make sure not only to include representation of one, but that of many different countries. And that is why I am proud to be a part of Club International.
Club International!
Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Marcel Gibbs. Here's a look at your Plattsburgh weather. Now I know you're missing those temperatures from break because we are going right back to the Arctic plunge that you know Plattsburgh for. We're seeing 28 for Owl's Head, we're seeing 28 for Vermontville, 28 for Dannemora, 33 for All Stable Forks, 36 for Plattsburgh, so at least it ain't the lowest on this board, 34 for St. Albans City, and 37 for Wilson. Now let's take a look at your 5-day forecast. Forget everything I said about before because we are not looking good here, folks. We're seeing high temperature of 38 for Tuesday. Mostly sunny, but clouds still coming in. Wednesday, rain, snow, becoming all rain after 8 a.m. with a high of 49. Ironic that the highest temperature on here and the worst is happening. 38 for Thursday with the chance of rain and snow showers before noon. Partly sunny, so at least there's that. 40 for Friday, partly sunny. We finally get a break for the sun, for the snow, and then immediately coming back to the snow and rain for Saturday, and a high of 46. And that's all before 8 a.m. And then after that, it's mostly cloudy. That's all you got for weather. I'm Marcel Gibbs. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Marcel. NASA has released pictures of the moon taken last Monday by the Orion capsule during its closest approach to the moon, about 80 miles above the lunar surface. Orion is part of the Artemis 1 mission and 25-and-a-half-day journey that will take the craft more than 40,000 miles beyond the far side of the moon. The spacecraft also snapped a selfie on Wednesday, the 8th day of the mission. If Orion completes its trek beyond the moon and back to Earth, it will be the furthest spacecraft intended to carry humans ever traveled. For now, it's only carrying scientific instruments. NASA's Artemis program aims to eventually establish a lunar outpost to permanently host the astronauts for the first time in history. The hope is to work toward a human landing on Mars. The Artemis 1 mission launched November 16th. The Orion capsule is expected to return to Earth on December 11th.
The White House is getting ready for Christmas. First Lady Jill Biden chose the theme for this year's celebration, and it's We the People. In a message from the 2022 White House Holiday Guide, Dr. Biden says that despite different traditions, Americans all believe in optimism, possibility, and unity. More than 150 people volunteered their time to help with decorations. The White House's Blue Room will hold the main Christmas tree, which is nearly 19 feet tall. More than 83,000 lights, decorated 77 trees, displays, garlands, and wreaths throughout the White House. The First Lady officially unveiled the holiday decorations earlier today. Now let's take a look what's happening in the world of entertainment with your PS Entertainment Update. Here's Quasi Gittins.
Jennifer Lopez is returning to music with a new album that has a link to one of her past classics. It's called This Is Me Now, and according to a press release, it focuses on the journey the singer has made over the past 20 years. This announcement comes on the 20th anniversary of Lopez's 2002 record, This Is Me Then. It featured the big hit Jenny from the Block and a song for her then fiancé, Ben Affleck, called Dear Ben. Affleck and Lopez later broke up but have since returned to each other and are now married. The new album reflects that with a new song called Dear Ben Part 2. In a recent interview in Vogue magazine, Lopez says she's not a tortured artist, that in spite of ups and downs in life, she makes her best music when she's happy and full of love. Just 2 weeks after suffering burn injuries in a garage fire, comedian Jay Leno returned to the stage Sunday night. The former NBC Tonight Show host performed in front of a sold-out crowd at the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, California. Leno, an avid car collector, was burned in a gasoline fire while working underneath one of his vehicles on November 12th. He underwent 2 surgeries to treat significant burns on his face and hands. Lino has scheduled 3 additional shows at the Comedy and Magic Club for December. A notable face was absent from the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade this year. Al Roker missed a traditional TV broadcast because he was recovering from a health scare. The Today Show meteorologist posted on Instagram that he was hospitalized after a blood clot in his leg traveled to his lungs. For 27 years, Roker has co-hosted the annual parade on television. NBC meteorologist Dylan Dreyer filled in for him. Next to co-host Savannah Garth and Hoda KOTB. Roker posted on Instagram that he was released from the hospital Thursday afternoon just in time to have Thanksgiving dinner with his family. That's all from entertainment. When we'll come back, we have Ryan Nista with your PS Sports update. Stay with us.
The purpose of our club is to inform all of our members about what it takes to get into grad school and how to be successful in doing so. What I like most about our club is just how excited everyone is to learn new things and figure out things that maybe we wouldn't be taught during class or on the outsides of school. And in one word that I would use to describe our club would definitely be collaborative, because everyone always has something new to say, to advise someone else, and it's just a fun and exciting environment.
Welcome back. With your PS Sports Update, I'm Ryan Nista. The Plattsburgh State men's ice hockey team picked up a decisive 5-0 victory over Middlebury College at the 24th annual First Light Shootout on Friday afternoon at Norwich University. The Cardinals are now unbeaten in their last 6 games, with the team now ranked at number 14 in the men's Division III top 15 poll. Junior defenseman Corey Doney paced the Cardinals with 2 goals, while sophomore forward Luke Jurasic and senior defenseman Jacob Madry each finished with a goal and an assist. First-year goaltender Eli Schiller backstopped Plattsburgh State to a 23-save shutout, his second shutout in as many games. Plattsburgh State rises to 6-1-2 overall with the victory and would face number 9 Norwich University in the championship game the following evening. On that evening, the Cardinals would win its 7th First Light Shootout title at Kreuzberg Arena, defeating host and 9th-ranked Norwich University 3-1 in the championship game. First-year goaltender Eli Schiller was named the tournament MVP, while first-year forward Ryan Bonfield was named the tournament's most outstanding rookie. Junior defenseman Corey Doney, senior defenseman Jacob Madry, and sophomore forward Luke Jurasic were named to the all-tournament team. Plattsburgh State rises to 7-1-2 overall with the win. The Cardinals, who are now off to their best start since 2015, visit SUNY Potsdam next on Saturday, December 3rd at 7 p.m. The number 3 Plattsburgh State women's ice hockey team fell to the number 6 University of Wisconsin River Falls 3-2 on Saturday afternoon to open up the Busters Cardinal Panther Classic. UW River Falls scored the go-ahead goal at the 6:52 mark in the 3rd period, and that score would hold down the stretch. The Cardinals owned a slight edge in shots on goal, 26-25, while both teams were scoreless in the power play. Plattsburgh State fell to 7-1-0 overall with the loss. It would host Elmira College in a consolation game the following day. Thanks in part to an efficient power play, the number 3 ranked Cards posted a convincing 7-0 victory over number 4 Elmira College. It marked the largest margin of victory for either team in their 62-game all-time series, dating back to their first meeting in 2001. Senior goaltender Leila Neese made a career-high 34 saves to earn the shutout, which included a 17-save second period. Sophomore defenseman Maddie Norton recorded 3 points on a goal and 2 assists, while junior forward Mael Shansky dished out 3 assists. As a result of her play during the tournament, Norton was named to the all-tournament team. Plattsburgh State rises to 8-1 overall with the win and next visits SUNY Cortland on Friday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. to resume Northeast Women's Hockey League play. The Plattsburgh State men's basketball picked up a win over Skidmore on Tuesday night in non-conference action, as they have now posted back-to-back road wins. The team has now surpassed their win total from last season with their 3rd victory of the season. Kevin Tabb was once again the team's leading scorer, dropping a new season-high 25 points, going a perfect 11 for 11 from the line. Willard Anderson Jr. had a strong game off the bench, posting a season-high 20 points, shooting an efficient 7 from 10 from the floor and 4 for 6 from 3. Eric Salo had just 6 points, but made his impact felt with 14 boards. Plattsburgh dominated the boards, picking up 47 rebounds to Skidmore's 38, as the Cards shot 45% from the floor. The Cardinal bench was key to the win, with 33 points off the bench, while Skidmore just had 4 points from their bench players. The Cardinals moved to 3-2 in the season and will open SUNYAC play in their next game, heading to Potsdam for a 7:30 matchup on November 29th. The women's basketball team had no games this past week, but will also travel to Potsdam tomorrow to take on the Bears at 5:30 p.m. With your PS Sports Update, I'm Ryan Nista. Now back to the desk with Jorge and Pat.
Thanks, Ryan. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us.
To stay up to date with PS News and all your Plattsburgh State TV, be sure to follow at Plattsburgh State TV on all social media platforms. I'm Pat Pfeiffer.
And I'm Jorge Cabrera. As always, thank you for joining us and have a great night, Plattsburgh.